Okay, next review. This review is The Echo of Old Books by Barbara Davis. Have you read
I like
it?
the cover.
It is super cute. Have you read it? Have you heard of it? Liz got it for me for Christmas. It was on my TBR, and I needed a like short, sweet book to just kind of get out. I think I had just finished House of Flame and Shadow, and so I was like, I need something a little lighter, that doesn't have as much world building. So dove into this, loved it. It was so good. It's a historical fiction, kind of. It doesn't follow like World War II or like a big event like that, that most historical fictions I say should if they're in that genre, but this has a cool element of flipping back to a time in history. I just echoed. Anyway, so the main character, I forget her name. I read too many books. Ashlyn is the main character. Let me just find it real quick.
Did you even read the book?
I did, but I've read like 4 since then. Okay, so we have Ashlyn as the main character. She owns a rare bookshop. And so one of her like colleagues or another collector called her and was like, "Hey, I have these books. Do you want to come like pick through them and see if you want any of them for your shop?" She goes down and finds these books and is like, can't figure out who the author is because they're not signed, they're not like dated. They didn't have a published date or anything on them. And so she starts to read the books, and it's kind of like a diary slash love letter between 2 people. So there's 2. There's one written from a man's perspective and then one written from a woman's perspective of the same events happening. So this book gets a little trippy because you're kind of reading 3 books in one. You're reading Ashlyn's story, and then you're reading the woman's point of view on what had happened, and then the man's point of view on what had happened for this like incident between them. And so Ashlyn starts to investigate like how did these books come to get at that shop, where they came from, who wrote them, and what the story is between the 2 like lovers who then wound up like not being together. But for the books, it flashes back to like I want to say the 1940s, the 1930s. As like it flashes back like the to socialites at the time in like New York City. And so it's really cool to read those books and flip back to those times and see them like going to parties and what them like women were wearing and just the time period in general. It describes it really well. So it's all about her finding out more about these books.
What did you rate it?
I rated it a B plus. It was super good. I would recommend it to people, but I wouldn't read it again myself because I do feel like I know the ending. So kind of like the mystery along the way is already solved, but the writing was super good. I would for sure read more books by her.
Do you think is it like a standalone? Like there's not going to be a sequel or anything, right?
Standalone, and everything comes together at the end, and it goes even like into an epilogue, sort of like you finish the book and then it's like, a year later and you get to kind of see where all the characters ended up. It's very, you feel very complete after, but really great read, great writing, and great like just little mystery story to solve. You should read
I
it.
love the closure of an epilogue.
Yeah,
Makes me so happy.
I know. I would highly recommend. But it is a B plus. So um yeah, I don't think it's one you'll like read and read again, but you'll like it if you ever need just a short, quick book. I mean, it's not quick. I shouldn't say it's quick. It's like 450 pages.
It's like nothing compared to Sarah J. Maas's latest book, right? So it's fine.
No, but I would say most people consider a short, quick read being like 250, 300.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll add it to my list then. It sounds really good.
Yeah, it does sound good.
Do it.
Are you happy with how it ended? Like how
Yeah,
they like okay.
it's not like Verity to where you're like, what just happened? No.
Dude, Verity.
Yeah.
That whole book was like, what just happened?
Who picked Verity?
I did.
That's like a Kelly book almost, Andrea. What's going on?
Well, everyone's been raving about Colleen Hoover, so it's like, oh, I'll pick a Colleen Hoover. And I picked apparently the most random one that she's written. So
Oh my gosh. I tried to start today. It ends with us. Have either of you guys read that?
I have it.
Ah,
I haven't read
okay.
it though.
I started it and then I got through the first 2 pages and I was like, I can't read this right now. I thought it would be like a rom-com almost chick lit sort of thing. And in the
That's what I
first,
thought it was.
it might be, but in the first 2 pages, she's talking about basically like she's going to a funeral and she's thinking about suicide. And I'm like,
Oh God.
this doesn't seem lighthearted.
A lot for a Sunday afternoon. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah. So instead, I went with another series by Lauren Asher, the author who wrote The Fine Print. So she seemed a little bit safer for just a quick, short chick lit read.
Yes.
All right. That's the Echo of Old Books. If you like historical fiction, kind of with romance woven into solving a mystery, it's very good.